Serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 9 on Fargo CW.
We're getting some breaking news just into our newsroom. Police say a Grand Forks area man is in jail after a chase between North Dakota and Minnesota involving 3 law enforcement agencies. Police say 26-year-old Kyle Heinz is facing charges of reckless endangerment and fleeing, among others, in Minnesota and North Dakota. This after the chase through Greater Grand Forks. Now, police say they tried to stop Heinz because he had a warrant out for his arrest, but he took off and he led them from Grand Forks over to East Grand Forks and almost returning to the North Dakota side. Police had to use spike strips and a pit maneuver to stop him. Grand Forks Police, the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and the Minnesota Highway Patrol were all involved in the chase. An NDSU student viciously beaten over the weekend has a long road to recovery. That student, Isaiah Smith from Brainerd, Minnesota, is receiving support from the community with a fundraising site nearly $40,000. As Isaiah recovers, police are investigating the attack, and students who lived near where it happened say they're going to be a little bit more cautious when they're going out at night. Valley News Team's Cornelius Hawker has this story.
I think it throws kids off every now and then to see something wrong happen around the area, because Fargo is, for a lot of people, a safe place.
NDSU student body president Mason Wenzel on the brutal attack that left Isaiah Smith, an NDSU nursing student, beaten so badly he had to go through 7 hours of surgery and now has a lengthy road to recovery.
That's not Fargo. This incident isn't what Fargo is.
The attack happened right across the street from the NDSU campus at a park that's surrounded by dozens of houses and apartments where students live.
I live around here, so obviously I want them to know that it's like a safe place to be, you know. Obviously I want my friends to come and hang out at my dorm.
Mason Wentz and his buddies say this happening shows Fargo is no longer the small town it used to be. However, the student body president pushes back against those concerns, saying Fargo is not rampant with people waiting in dark alleys to strike.
It's unfortunate that a few bad behaviors of people who really are just a terrible depiction of Fargo are painting this picture of what we're about, and I think that's just not the case.
Cornelius Hawker, Valley News Live.
North Dakota State did not alert students about this incident because they say it didn't happen on campus, and the Fargo PD said there wasn't a threat to those in the area. The police tell us they interviewed 3 people and expect to send the case to the Cass County State's Attorney's Office to press charges soon. Now on to another incident close to college campus, this one at UND. We now know the name of the man arrested today following a double stabbing yesterday in Grand Forks. Jordan Parisian was arrested this morning south of the Ralph Engelstead Arena. Police are not connecting him to the stabbing right now. However, he fits the description from a victim. Parisian is being held for burglary and criminal trespass. Police say he was seen trying to break into the same apartment where the stabbing took place yesterday.
People should always be cautious. Just because an incident occurred yesterday doesn't mean that they should be more cautious or less cautious. I think people just really need to pay attention to their surroundings.
Police are still advising people to lock their doors and call if they see any suspicious activity. Coming up after weather, why search warrants for the Savannah Graywin case are being kept sealed. Plus, we hear from the family of the victims of Ashley Hunter after he was sentenced to 2 life terms in prison with no chance for parole today. But first, Hutch, it's getting awfully chilly out there. How low will our temperatures go tonight?
Pretty low. For some of us, we have to use the word frost, and it wasn't really warm throughout the day. Right now, the temperature out at Hector, 54 degrees. Wind from the north-northwest has settled down, however. It is only blowing at 7 miles per hour. The skies clear. 50 degrees in both Valley City and Langdon. A lot warmer in Devils Lake at 57, 52 in Detroit Lakes, Wadena, and Bemidji, with Badette this hour at 53 degrees. Here's a look at the satellite. We still have a fair amount of cloudiness from Badette south through eastern Otter Tail County. Then it's hit and miss clouds elsewhere. For the most part, we're seeing a little bit of a clearing trend over the western reaches of our viewing area. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Overnight, with the clear skies and the calming winds, temperatures will sneak down briefly into the mid-30s, particularly in our northwest to north-central Minnesota counties, as we see patchy frost a possibility, not widespread, but a few of us may see that. Starting our day chilly in Fargo as well, 39 degrees. Then as we head through the midday hour, we'll be on our way into the low 60s. 60s, so still cool. Tomorrow's big difference, the wind is going to take a little bit of a hiatus, a vacation, and it's going to bring us a few clouds. It'll still be from the north, and those clouds in the afternoon will mainly be over parts of western Minnesota, limiting your temperatures once again into the upper 50s in northern Beltrami County, low 60s elsewhere, and a few 70s, smattering the weather map from the Red River Valley and points west. Tomorrow evening looks like we could see a sprinkle in the Lake of the Woods area. Other than that, that should be another cool but quiet day. Starting out cool and very slowly warming up. We'll see around 60 for the lunch hour, around 70 for the dinner hour, wind under 10 miles per hour throughout the day. Your hometown forecast, a lot of upper 60s across the map, a few 70s in the Red River Valley, upper 50s and low 60s for parts of west central Minnesota. Here is a look at a squirrel getting ready for the cold night, apparently. Thanks for feeding me, says Donna. Thanks for uploading your photo. Here is a look at your forecast. Warmer on Thursday, 80 degrees. That's above average, and that's where we stay, above average all the way through the weekend and into next week, with a lot of 80s on the weather map. Sunday night, however, we'll have a chance at a line of showers and thunderstorms. Here's the very latest on Hurricane Irma. It is still spinning its wheels toward the outer islands here, and as it makes its way there, it is a Category 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, 185-mile-per-hour winds still. The forecast path widens the farther out in time we get just because of uncertainties. It is expected to weaken as it moves into the northern reaches of the Cuban island and heads towards the southern peninsula of Florida. Anywhere from Miami to Fort Myers to also Tampa Bay should be on alert. Speaking of the strength of this storm, 185 miles per hour puts it in the top 5 for wind speeds in the Atlantic Basin in all of history.
So we'll have to continue to follow that hurricane.
We'll keep our eyes on it, yes.
Okay, thank you, Hutch. Court documents are sealed until a verdict is reached, a guilty plea is entered, or the cases are dismissed. That's the latest surrounding the disappearance and murder of Savannah Graywind. We keep asking investigators, what did they find, where did they find it, and how was Savannah Graywind murdered? But the answers to those questions are usually found in search warrants, which we found out today are being kept sealed. This is a picture taken this morning of the list of search warrants filed in connection with the murder. There are 10 warrants, which are normally publicly available to documents that cannot be opened. Now, filed with those warrants, half a dozen court motions and orders to seal them up. The court lists 4 reasons for keeping the details secret. Both Brooke Cruz and William Hain face conspiracy to commit murder charges, among others. The court says if these warrants are made public, it risks undermining their right to a fair trial. They say there's no remedy short of sealing them to protect the details prior to any trial. And lastly, there's no other alternative to the closing the records. The funeral for Savannah Graywind is scheduled for Thursday morning at First Assembly Church in Fargo. And a Fargo man convicted of brutally killing 2 people will be locked up for the rest of his life. A judge in Fargo has sentenced Ashley Hunter to 2 life term in prison with no chance for parole. Back in June, a jury found Ashley Hunter guilty of murdering Clarence Flowers and Samuel Trout. Flowers was stabbed more than 70 times. Trout was beaten to death with a hammer. Today in court, investigators and friends of Hunter's victims filled the courtroom to learn Hunter's fate. Here's what Samuel's mother had to say.
As family, the pain is always with us. Samuel's sister's hard question to be asked is, do you have any siblings? My hard question to be asked is, how are you doing? Unprovoked violent crime of this magnitude should be dealt with loss of freedom forever. Life in prison without parole.
Hunter apologized to the families and said they will be in his thoughts and prayers as long as he lives. Defense attorneys also asked the judge for a chance for parole because the crimes were committed in what was being called a drug-induced rage. New for you now at 9, police now have 3 people in custody after a teenager who's been missing for almost a month ago is finally back home. The Alexandria Police Department says 15-year-old Jasmine Ann Block was found today in rural Grant County. She had minor injuries but was otherwise okay. She had been missing since August 9th. As for the 3 arrested, authorities are not releasing names, saying it could interfere with their investigation, but they are expected to release more information tomorrow. And an update to a shooting that we reported to you back in July. Authorities say they were able to track down the people involved by finding a class ring at the scene. On July 25th, Moorhead police responded to the Azul Shopping Center in this apartment after reports of shots being fired during a drug deal turned robbery. D'Angelo Brooks, Raquan Thomas, And the male under the age of 18 were arrested after police found Thomas's wrestling championship class ring at the scene of the crime, along with spent shell casings. Court documents show that Thomas was told by Brooks that he would be paid to help steal the drugs and then turn around and sell them. Thomas, Brooks, and the other male are now in jail facing charges of aggravated robbery. And the Wadena County Sheriff's Office is warning people to be on the lookout for a sex offender after he failed to register as a predatory offender and had sexually related online conversations with young girls. Timothy George Bungert also tried to meet up with one of the girls that he was talking to online, none of which knew who he was. He was last registered as living in Seneca, Minnesota. Anyone with any information on Bungert's whereabouts is asked to contact the Wadena County Sheriff's Office using the number at the bottom of your screen. The federal government has approved new education standards for North Dakota. U.S. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos says the plan that North Dakota officials have been working on for more than a year does meet the requirements under the federal Every Student Succeeds Act. The law superseded the No Child Left Behind law and gives states more flexibility on student testing and academic standards. One special Becker County Sheriff's deputy was awarded for her help in saving the life of a young boy earlier this year. Take a look. Deputy Kayla Jones was attending a birthday party while off duty at Eilertson Lake. But that's when she heard a call for help. She saw an 11-year-old boy struggling to stay afloat far away from the shore. The deputy swam out to help the boy and kept him above water until a boat could come and pick them up. And an exciting day here at Valley News Live, as alongside our partners at the Fargo Force, we're announcing the dates for this year's live broadcasts of the Fargo Force games on MeTV. The first ever live broadcast will be October 6th at the Force home opener at Shields Arena when they host Sioux Falls at 7:05. There will be at least one game each October, November, December, and January as we partner up to bring you the top junior hockey league in the country right into your living room. What happened?